This is KGW News at 11.
Hello and welcome to KGW News at 11. I'm Brittany Folkers. Tonight, Oregon State Police are investigating after suspects got into a shootout with Salem officers. It happened right across the street from North Salem High School last night. And it all started with an attempted carjacking. Blair Best was in Salem today talking with neighbors.
This calm residential neighborhood, a chaotic scene Saturday night. It started around 6:30 p.m. on Southeast 17th and Hines Street when two men tried to steal a woman's car. As police were investigating, they found a previously stolen vehicle several blocks away on Northeast 18th and Center Street. When police tried to stop that car, the driver sped off. Three men were in the car. They eventually stopped on the corner of Northeast 14th and B Street and ran from police on foot. It was around 7 p.m. when Salem police chased after them, and that's when the suspects and police started shooting at each other. There have been no reported injuries. During the shooting, there was a school play and a cheerleading competition happening right across the street.
It was kind of frightening. Yeah.
Teresa Shelley's 14-year-old granddaughter was in the high school play.
And then my daughter and son-in-law were there watching it and just worried it's, something going on there.
She lives nearby and walks through the neighborhood every day.
Maybe I should be carrying pepper spray or something.
After the shooting, police took two of the suspects into custody, but couldn't find the third man right away, even after using a canine to search. They also took a handgun from the scene. That's
frightening. This is basically a good neighborhood, really, but there are things that happen,
Now, these spray-painted marks left by police, a stark reminder for people like Shelley that no neighborhood is immune to the rise in crime that's becoming a theme in larger cities like Salem.
Just makes me sad. Yeah.
Oregon State Police are now investigating, and the officer involved in the shooting has been placed on administrative leave. In Salem, Blair Best, KGW News.
Portland police say they were nearly hit by a speeding, reckless driver in Northeast Portland Saturday night. When they tried to pull them over, the car kept going. While eluding police, the car hit a fire hydrant, and at one point, the driver or passenger threw a gun out the window. This is what the suspect's car looked like when all was said and done. Officers finally got it stopped with spike strips near Sandy and 125th Place. Both the driver and passenger were arrested. They face several charges, including being felons in possession of a gun. The University of Idaho will cancel classes Monday to honor 4 students who were found dead in a home near the campus earlier today. Now, the Moscow Police Department is actively investigating. According to MPD, officers arrived at the home around noon today after getting reports about an unconscious person. When police got there, they found 4 people dead inside the home. The victims' families have been notified, and classes will resume on Tuesday.
I can't do what I was doing, and it plays a toll on you.
A Troutdale man is recovering tonight after being hit by a speeding driver on I-205 last month. Joshua Hackney says when he was driving home, he noticed a car speeding up behind him. Then he was hit from behind. Hackney's car ended up rolling 6 times and was impaled by rebar in a construction zone. When a Portland police officer got to the scene, they saw someone running from the crash. No arrests have been made yet, but the suspect's car was taken. In the aftermath, Hackney now has multiple facial fractures, a broken neck, among other things. He says he isn't sure how it all happened.
I don't really have memory of what happened. I was driving on the freeway, I know that. Got on Division going northbound towards the 84 and saw headlights approaching me, hit me from behind. After that, all I remember is being outside of my car.
Since the accident, he's been dealing with PTSD and says his anxiety has gotten worse. Hackney says he isn't sure how much his medical bills will cost him, so his friends have set up a GoFundMe for him. They've raised $21,000 so far. Turning now to some Oregon researchers working to better understand climate change. Oregon State University scientists have been digging deep into the ocean floor and think they found a connection between the warming climate and volcanic activity. Tim Gordon explains.
There is so much we still don't know about our oceans and how they relate to climate. But expeditions to the North Pacific by Oregon State University researchers continue to give us answers, the most recent related to volcanoes.
We actually made a fairly surprising discovery that volcanoes might be involved in the biological response of the ocean over long timescales.
OSU professor Alan Mix says chemical analysis of sediment shows what was happening during major ice melt due to rising temperatures during the last ice age 18,000 years ago. The results indicate that as glaciers melted away on volcanoes, the volcanoes became more active.
It kind of makes sense. You cover something up with ice, it acts like a cork on the bottle, right? And then the ice goes away and it's easier for them to erupt.
Mix points to Mount St. Helens as a modern-day example of the same effect. Different in this case, he says, because a landslide basically uncovered or uncorked the mountaintop and led to its eruption. Either way, major volcanic activity leads to lots of ash in the sky and eventually into the ocean. That's what they found with core samples in the Gulf of Alaska. They also found that ash made a good iron-rich meal for plankton. That in turn put lots of organic material on the ocean bottom. Too much of that creates oxygen-starved dead zones in the water.
It is an era of discovery. This particular connection of the volcanoes to the ice, to the plankton, to the oxygen, wasn't something we expected to find, but there it was.
Mix says their findings deep underwater don't come with a doomsday forecast for a rash of eruptions anytime soon.
I think the point is more learning from the past to figure out how to better live with the Earth. It's also true that we are perturbing the Earth. We are causing climate change, and that's going to do some strange things.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.
We are wrapping up a cool but really lovely weekend. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joins us now. So, Joe, we're going to see more sunshine tomorrow, right?
Exactly right. We're going to be seeing basically not a drop of rain for the next 5 or 6 days or so. And it's going to be a little bit on the cool side over the next couple of mornings and windy as well. And speaking of cool, this was the coldest start to any morning we've seen so far this fall. If you slept in or didn't have any morning errands to run, you probably didn't notice it. But yeah, we saw some dense fog and some frost earlier this morning. And look at some of these temperatures, mid-20s practically over in Hillsborough on the west side there. And Scappoose, you saw a temperature earlier this morning of 28 degrees. And it was along the Oregon coast as well, where that chill was definitely in the air throughout parts of the northern Oregon coast. Really up and down the Oregon beaches, you saw temperatures in the low to mid-30s. There's also some high surf advisory along the coast, a chance for some sneaker waves basically late tonight and into tomorrow. This gray color you see is a dense fog advisory that's now in place through parts of the central and southern part of the Willamette Valley. And this yellow color is an air stagnation advisory. And there's a chance we could be seeing that air stagnation advisory get extended heading into the metro area over the next couple of days, because we're not going to be seeing much change with our basically weather pattern. We're going to be seeing that strong ridge of high pressure stay with us once again, and it's going to be a very uncommon dry stretch for mid-November. This is the time of November that we usually see a good amount of rain, and that's not going to be the case here over the next 5 to 6 days. Instead of the rain, it's going to be the next 6 days of dry and sunny conditions, but cool overnight. We'll start to see the winds pick up heading into tomorrow as well. Basically, by late morning, early part of the afternoon, we'll be seeing gusts around the metro area and especially near the Columbia River Gorge close to 25, 30 miles per hour. They'll peak right around 40 miles an hour by the end of tomorrow, and they continue into Tuesday. And Brittany, the closer you get into the gorge and the farther east you get in along I-84, you could be seeing gusts up to 50 miles an hour heading into tomorrow and into Tuesday. We'll talk more about your extended forecast in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. Oregon will now have its first Latina congresswoman. The Associated Press has called Oregon's 5th congressional district race, declaring victory for Republican Lori Chavez Dreamer. This win flips the district from blue to red. It was previously held for 7 terms by Democrat Kurt Schrader. Here's a look at the latest vote count. Chavez Dreamer has slightly more than 51% of the vote and about a 7,000 vote lead over Democrat Jamie McLeod Skinner. Both candidates released official statements tonight. Congresswoman-elect Chavez Dreamer wrote in part, "As mayor of Happy Valley, I was proud of my bipartisan track record, and it was critical to approach every issue through a nonpartisan lens. That is exactly what I promise to do as your next Congresswoman." Meanwhile, Jamie McLeod Skinner conceded the race, writing in part, "I spoke with Lori to congratulate her and wish her well in representing Oregon's 5th District during these challenging times. Our success as Oregonians is dependent on the success of our elected leaders, and I encourage all of us to help our elected leaders bridge our divides to address our common challenges." All right, let's get to some of those national headlines tonight. More than a dozen people were hurt Saturday night after an alleged drunk semi-truck driver crashed into a school bus in Indiana. Authorities say that the bus was filled with a Chicago high school JV hockey team. The team was traveling back to their hotel after their game in Warsaw when the crash happened. In all, 16 people were taken to the hospital. Warsaw police say that they should be okay, and authorities are still investigating. That semi-truck driver has been arrested. 6 other people in Los Angeles are in the hospital after an SUV drove through a carnival last night. The LA Police Department says they were trying to conduct a traffic stop when the driver went through the carnival. Authorities later found a car that fit the description about 3 blocks from the scene and took someone into custody. Right now, police don't know if the crash was intentional. Those hurt are expected to recover. A memorial for the 21st graders and 6 educators killed in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting opened to the public today. This new memorial is in Newtown, Connecticut. The opening comes roughly 1 month before the 10th anniversary of the tragedy. And those are your national headlines.